In this video, we're going to do the derivative of the arc cosine. So what we're after at the end is ddx arc cosine of x. And we want to know what that is. And we're going to follow the example we had when we did the derivative of the arc sine and use the same methodology, which to start with, we have we know the cosine of the arc cosine of x is x, right? It's anti-function. I mean, it's the inverse function of the arc cosine. The arc cosine is the inverse function of the cosine. So we can take the derivative of this, and if we do that, and we do the dx of cosine of arc cosine of x. I can't type apparently. X, right? So on this side, it's 1. And on this side, we can use the chain rule. So from the chain rule, derivative of the cosine is minus the sine times the derivative of the arc cosine, which is what we're after. If I could remember to type 2 C's there, right? And so that's 1. And so we just take it, now we have ddx arc cosine of x is minus 1 over the sine arc cosine of x. All right, okay. So you think, well, that's not, that doesn't really help me out yet, right? That doesn't really tell me what I'm after. And that's correct. That doesn't tell you the whole story because you actually want something over here that's a little easier to evaluate. But let's go over to the triangle. I'll flip over here. Now, arc cosine of x is an angle. What is x in that context, and what is the angle? So if we go to PowerPoint, so we're talking about the cosine. The angle is this theta here. The x in this case, right, is this side. So if we were to say the cosine of x is that, the cosine of theta is x, the arc cosine of x is theta. And so that is where we are. And what does that mean about the sine, though? Because what we have, right, here we are. We know that we have the arc cosine of x is that theta. What is the sine of that angle in terms of x? So let's look at this. So we want the sine of this angle in terms of x. Well, the sine of this angle is this piece over here, b. And we know, go back to here, we know that because this is a unit circle, 1 is x squared plus that b squared. And so that b is the sine of that angle. And we're just going to solve for that b, which is b is the square root 1 minus x squared. All right? And so now we have the sine of that angle theta in terms that we can write in a simple equation, and we can write ddx arc cosine of x is minus 1 over the square root of 1 minus x squared. And that gives us the derivative of the arc cosine.